Welcome. You're listening to The Best of Investing. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my guests, who I'm going to introduce in just a minute here. Our co-hosts, Mark Homp and Nam Phan, are not on the show today, but our phone number is 888-912-1190. Use that number to answer the trivia questions for a 5-pack tanning certificate given away during this show. That certificate's not sponsored by the radio station, but by Tanbella Tanning Salon, with 2 locations in San Francisco and 1 in Marin. And today's trivia theme is Jaws trivia. If you guys remember the movie Jaws, I guess we'll do any one of the Jaws movies, because I think I have more than just the original one. All right, and today's special guests are Jay Tenenbaum and Seti Gershberg. And welcome, guys, to The Best of Investing. How are you?
Hey, Edward, how you doing?
Great.
Excellent, excellent. All right, so now tell me why I've got you on the show. What do you guys do? Because I know it's good, because you and I, we've been talking about this for a while, and it's kind of exciting, and I wanted the audience to kind of hear what you guys do, and there's the opportunities for potentially the audience to invest in potential. So tell us what you guys do.
Well, let me start it this way. So Jay and I have been attending a very interesting group called the Family Office Club, so we can learn how to market to family offices, and they had us go through an exercise. So I'll repeat from the exercise. So something about us. So we have closed over 450 transactions in 33 states, valued at over $30 million in value. These are all real estate assets, single family assets, at an average 52% discount of value. And then what we do is we take these non-performing loans and we process them through a system. And the system includes us either getting paid off, so our debt gets paid off to us, or we wind up taking possession of the house, and then we own it and we can do whatever we want with it.
Okay. And I got to think that if you're buying these at a discount, then if you get paid off at the auction, that's going to be a nice little profit for you in a short period of time.
Well, it can be. So it really depends on what we call the legal balance. Okay. So the legal balance of the loan includes whatever amount of principal has not been paid. That's the unpaid principal balance. And what you add to that are all the arrearages. All the arrearages are your penalties, interest payments, missed payments, etc.
Okay.
And then you add to that, on top of that, what they call corporate advances. So these are legal expenses, insurance, anything related to the foreclosure.
Real estate tax
also get piled on. Yeah. So you add all that, and that gets you the legal balance. So if you bought an asset for $100,000 and your legal balance was $200,000, you could get paid off up to the $200,000.
Okay.
Right? If the legal balance was $120,000, you'd get paid off up to the $120,000. So it really depends on what the value of the home is to whoever wants to buy it. So if there's a huge spread there, then we know we're going to get paid off with a low value legal balance, right? So so if we have a legal balance of $200,000 and the house is worth $1 million, we know at the auction someone's going to pay us off, right? So that'd be a $100,000 payday for us. On the $120,000 legal balance, that would be a $20,000 payoff to us.
Okay, and because you said you're buying these at around 50% of what, the legal balance?
Be 50% of the perceived lower of the legal balance, or what we consider the after repair value. So if we wind up taking the property back, we want to make sure if we flip it, we can make some money. So it's going to be 50% of the lower of those two.
Okay. And you guys, you said you've done 33 states. That's amazing. So how do you?
So let me tell you a story about the 33 states, just to kind of get an idea of, because you lose track after a while. So I'm in Hawaii in October with my daughters, and we start playing a game. You know, like you name a vegetable, from A to Z. So then they start singing a song, and how they learned the 50 states from some song. So they started singing the song. I asked them to sing it slowly, and every time they came up with a state, I said yes or no, and came up with 33 states that I've invested in.
That's amazing. Are there any states that you like? Any states you don't like specifically?
Well, I love Connecticut right now. And we're
Right now.
in Connecticut, and we're doing great there. And the reason is, it's very close to New York, and a lot of people from New York are still moving out, and Connecticut's a small state, so it's very desirable. There's very little for sale, and the prices keep driving up. So as long as you're, getting assets in areas that are close to New York and are, decent for future commutes,
Yeah.
and it's a great state. Jay, I'll let you talk about the ones we don't like.
So what we don't like is really predicated on the, from the legal standpoint, the foreclosure laws, the foreclosure laws and procedures aren't lender friendly. New York takes forever. New Jersey takes forever. We've got a love-hate relationship with Illinois. We do really well monetarily there, but the bureaucracy and the time delays into some of the process they make you go through, you really got to kick your head and go, why am I doing this? But we do really well there. Other than that, those are really the icky states. And then, certain states are slower than others, and Hawaii, we've done well there as well, but they don't move it. They move at a turtle's pace.
Yeah.
We're still waiting to get paid off on an auction in June. We're still waiting to get paid off on that, because the court procedure is what it is. But really, as Seti mentioned, it's somewhat mostly predominant about opportunistic. Like, we like Connecticut now because we're seeing deals there, deals that make sense. The pricing that we're getting these assets for still makes sense. We've got a strong team in Connecticut. We've got a strong team in Pittsburgh when we see stuff in there. So it's really a question of what's available, to what's coming to us. We really, we have relations with sellers that bring us deals on a regular basis, but we don't typically always get to say, we want to see what you have in this state or this city. You don't really get to do that, but you got to be, so you become experts in a lot of different markets very quickly, which is easy to do.
Gotcha. Hey, Jay, hold on a second, because we got to get to a hard break here. We're going to come back, because I know about Hawaii from many years ago having kind of a strange issue with the foreclosure laws there. All right, here's our first trivia question. Again, the theme is the movie Jaws, or Jaws 2 or 3 or whatever. There's a few sequels. And if you guys know the answer, don't say anything until we come back to break. But here's the question. What does Police Chief Martin Brody use to kill the shark at the end of Jaws? All right, that's our trivia question. Call 888-912-1190. First caller with the correct answer is going to win that trivia, geez, I'm losing my train of thought here. You're going to win the tanning certificate. All right, stay with us. You're listening to The Best of Investing. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Best of Investing. Edward Brown here, along with my special guests, Jay Tenenbaum and Seti Gershberg. First trivia question, guys. See if you know this. In the movie Jaws, what does Police Chief Martin Brody use to kill the shark at the end of Jaws?
We're supposed to answer? Shotgun, right?
And what did he shoot?
Shotgun?
Yeah, but what did he shot the scuba tank.
Oh.
And then it exploded.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
All right. So, guys, why don't you continue on with your story? So there's some states you like, some states you don't, because some states have what they call judicial foreclosures, right? And some states are non-judicial, which are faster. Can you explain a little bit of those?
Sure. So we play in the judicial states, and we're subjected to the court procedures and timeframes because we get better discounts. So if you want to experience fast time, you got to pay higher prices. So the West Coast, Texas, et cetera, you're going to see higher pricing because the time frame is much shorter. So we're okay. We get with the better discounts we get, balance against the time frames we're dealing with, because we can manage those time frames as well. We're experienced in them. We know what we're up against. We know what the relative time frames are. We're also buying stuff from time to time where the foreclosure's already started. So sometimes we're almost at the finish line anyway.
And why are these sellers selling while they're already in foreclosure, especially if they've already started it?
Well, typically we're buying from, hedge funds, and the hedge funds are buying large tranches of many loans, and they can't really, pick on a loan by loan basis as to what they're taking. And so and of course, when you're analyzing all these deals, they have to use, algorithms and, different tools at their disposal to figure out the value of these properties. Well, they have a need to pay interest. They have a need to generate capital, so they can't keep everything on the books. So they'll wind up selling off, what they feel to be, for them, perhaps lesser opportunities or a way for them to raise capital. So that would be one reason.
Yeah, can we back up for just a minute? So the hedge funds, they're buying the loans from banks, aren't they?
Well, they're buying them from either other hedge funds, or if they're large enough, they're buying directly from Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae.
Okay, and both performing and non-performing?
Both, yes.
Okay, so they're buying like a big portfolio, and it may include some dogs or some really good ones, or ones that were good and maybe started to turn sour. Okay, and so you guys are being presented with loans, in this case, non-performing ones, that they want to get off their books.
That's
right?
correct.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so how do you guys go through the analysis of, because obviously it's not a simple game, or else everybody would be doing it.
Right. Well, we look at each opportunity as like multiple exits. So we've counted as many as over 20 exits. Now there's probably 7 or 8 core exits. We can turn a loan from non-performing to performing, right? Okay. So that's one. We can get paid off at auction. That's 2. If we don't get paid off at auction, we get the asset. Well, what can you do with the asset when you own an asset? Well, we can turn it into a rental property. We can sell or finance it to somebody. We can fix and flip it. We can hold it as a long-term rental. We can turn it into, like an Airbnb or an overnight rental. So we have all those options that are open to us. So our models account for all of that. When we bring in the information that we get from the hedge funds, we plow through literally hundreds of loans, and we're able to identify the ones that meet our buy box and look profitable to us.
And let's see, so how often do you keep it for long-term rental versus rehabbing it and selling it? Do you have any kind of metrics on that?
I'm kind of a long-term buy and hold guy. I don't like to sell what I own that often, especially if it's cash flowing nicely and we're in a market like we're in now, where the owning hard assets is really ideal under inflationary times. So I think right now we'd be looking to keep what we have. We do have rentals that we're selling, but for other reasons, not because of price. So I think Jay and I tend to be very opportunistic in everything we do. We don't really have a set rule around that. So if it's cash flowing nicely and we like it, we'll keep it. If some other opportunity comes up or something happens, then we might sell.
Well, if you're not desperate sellers, then you can pick and choose when it's an opportune time. If it's kind of hit its plateau for a while, maybe it's time to sell. Or if it's got a lot of room to grow, and then you keep it. Yeah, because like Connecticut, that's like California from the standpoint, it's got very high taxes. But like you said, a lot of people from New York, it's not that far a commute, really. And Connecticut's beautiful. I mean, I've been there before. Like, it's so funny. Many years ago, I was there. I was visiting some property that we were cross collateralized on, and there was a place called New Canaan. I had never heard of it. I went there and I saw, and it's different than New Haven, Connecticut, right? So it's called New Canaan, and I'm thinking, this is kind of fun. I'll just sort of, have a few minutes. I'm gonna. There's a real estate office. I'll kind of look at some of the brochures. And son of a gun, if the prices were not similar to the Bay Area, that's a pretty
Greenwich
area.
Canaan and Darien will be very equal to your highest real estate in every part of the United States.
Yeah, but again, unless you know the area. So how do you guys feel comfortable? Well, you've been in 33 states now. So have you had really, well, you know what? We're going to cut to a break here really soon. When I come back, I want to hear some great stories, home runs, and I want to hear some horror stories. And then we're going to give the audience a chance to get in touch with you in case they want to learn more, because you are looking for investors in some of your deals. All right. So we're talking about the movie Jaws. This is the original one. Who played Hooper the marine biologist in the movie Jaws? Call 888-912-1190. First caller with the correct answer is going to win that tanning certificate. Again, who's the, which is, by the way, worth over $100. Trivia question number 2 is, who played Hooper, the marine biologist in the movie Jaws? All right, stay with us. You're listening to The Best of Investing. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, along with my special guests, Jay Tenenbaum and Seti Gershberg. Second trivia question, who played Hooper in the marine biologist in the movie Jaws?
I'm going to have to go with
Richard Dreyfuss.
Richard Dreyfuss, that's right. Very good. All right, you guys, 2 for 2. All right, so first of all, before I forget, if we have people in the audience who are interested in, I guess, teaming up with you, so to speak, because there are opportunities that you're going to allow people to invest with you to potentially profit in some of these basically turnarounds, I guess is a good way to do it. How would people get a hold of you? And then we want to hear some stories.
Well, they could find us on the web at www.scottsdalerei.com. That's our main website, and we have a contact form, so that's very easy. Should we give out our emails as well? So it's Seti at Scottsdale REI, SETI at Scottsdale REI, and J is J at Scottsdale REI.
And that's because you're in Arizona, right?
That is correct. I am talking to you from Scottsdale right now.
Okay, perfect. It's so funny. I'm just thinking about how when daylight savings time is, and Arizona doesn't play along with daylight savings time, do they?
No, it doesn't.
No, so sometimes we're an hour behind you, and sometimes we're exactly the same. Okay, all right. So give us some horror stories and give us some home runs. Good. Because you got to figure that every deal is going to work out perfectly.
Right. And they don't.
No, it doesn't. They don't. But I wouldn't necessarily call them horror stories. Just not worked out like they expected.
All right.
But Seti, what is a horror story we have?
Or just something that didn't work out. You know, like you said, if you've never done anything where you've lost money, that would be a horror story. Then maybe there's ones that took too long or too much money to rehab.
We've experienced a lot of delays recently, but we kind of pulled a rabbit out of the hat. One that comes to mind in Fall River, Massachusetts, where we originally thought we would just have to do a lipstick renovation on this property. And as it turns out, we had to put a lot more money into it, but the value of the house had gone up also, so it somewhat offset. But the renovation quotes that we were getting were just astronomical. Okay. And we've literally been working on it for months. And we finally, I have a personal friend who's a contractor who lives in New Jersey. He's a project manager, and he took his team up there, and they're going to do the job, and they're able to do it for at the price we need. So that's like pulling a rabbit out of the hat. But that was very stressful for a while, because if we did not find that would have been probably a break even. Or
yes, it's just easy to do profits on that. All right.
But it'll be a good deal because we were able to do that. But it doesn't always happen. Jay, I'm trying to think of some real disasters, but the only ones I can think of come off of the harbor portfolio, and those are very low value assets. So
right. Okay, you know what? You're right. Okay, so I got a disaster, but a very minimal hit disaster. But before we get to there, you also Jackson Hill, Connecticut, or Sharon, Connecticut, was also. We met. We were at an IMN conference in November here locally in Scottsdale, and I met with a couple guys that were from Connecticut, and they turned out to be our realtor, and they're coordinating the GC and the project we have up there. We spent a lot of time trying to figure out what we were going to do, how we were going to do it. We had an easement issue with a neighbor next door, and now that's going to turn out to be, the rehab. We got the budget down to where we needed to be. Actually, we'll do really well with that one. But no, so now that you mentioned the Harvard portfolio, so just give you a little background. Seti and I's very first. So I've been a real estate investor in the note space since 2013, And Seti and I met in the summer of 2017. And in the fall of 2018, we purchased our first portfolio together, which kicked off Scottsdale REI. Well, I joined Scottsdale REI at that time. It was Seti's company to kick off our partnership. And we bought a pool of 21 seller finance notes for a grand total of $85,000. Now the history, now you can't go wrong-ish. I mean, I knew this hedge fund for several years. I bought about 150 assets from them in the course of my career. This was the final 50 assets they were liquidating, and so you gotta really know what you're getting. Going, this is the last of the last of the last, and these are not nice houses.
Yeah.
The backstory is Fannie and Freddie foreclosed on these houses in 2010, 2011. They didn't do a lick of rehab of clean out, or they cleaned them out and gave them to this hedge fund. It bought a ton of this stuff in 2010, 2011. All they did was put a sign on the yard, $300 down, $300 a month. Here, take this house. It may not have a roof, it may not have hot water, whatever. It's your house. And so you can imagine the condition and the areas of these houses.
Sure.
But one of Seti's favorite properties in this portfolio is a place in Chicago on the south side. And we only bought it for $9,000, and we still have it. And recently, I got a video from, we're going to sell or finance it to the occupant. We foreclosed on the borrower who doesn't understand what the term foreclosure and get out means. He's kept his stuff in the basement. He's flaunted, again, Illinois being love, hate. He's flaunted the process. He didn't own the property, and yet he got a tenant, put a renter in there, and took her for $1,500 deposit and $900 a month rent skimming, which he rent skimmed before he got the property back from him. And now he's throwing Molotov cocktails in the windows. And our tenant sent me a video the other day where all you're hearing is gunfire. Now, unfortunately, the Molotov cocktail tenant was too astute. She ran outside and went in the snow and ran back inside and put the fire out with minimal damage. Now, I would have loved for her to just left the house and let it burn down.
And let the insurance cover.
Collect the insurance.
Would have covered would have made us whole.
Hey, Jay, hold on. We have one more fast break on this. Hold on a second. Okay. In the movie Jaws 2, how did Chief Brody kill the shark? That's our trivia question. All right. Call 888-912-1190. First caller with the correct answer is going to win that tanning certificate worth over $100. In the movie Jaws 2, how did Chief Brody kill the shark? All right, stay with us. Best of Investing, I'll be right back. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, along with my special guests, Seti Gershberg and Jay Tenenbaum. Guys, in the movie Jaws 2, how did Chief Brody kill that shark?
I never saw the movie.
I'm going to have to say it has something to do with electricity.
Yes, that's right. There was an underground or underwater electrical thing, and he picked it up, and the shark bit it and got electrocuted and exploded.
Maybe I did see it.
Kind of fun, though. We got to be into the Jaws movies to get that. So, Jay, you were finishing up the story about how the snow was able to put out the Molotov.
Yeah, the snow put out the fire instead of letting it burn down. We would have gotten the insurance money, which I've done in the past. In fact, I've done that in Chicago before, where the insurance claim.
Oh, you didn't do it. You had it done to you.
I didn't do it.
I know you didn't do it. All right, give us a like a home run type story, and then let's tell the audience like what they could expect if they're interested in calling you. What you guys can offer.
Well, let's do we're closing in 1 month on a property called 22 Glen Ridge in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This one is not a note. We talked about building teams. We have a great individual in Pittsburgh who is a realtor, a general contractor, a property manager. We've purchased a multifamily through her. We've done over 10 deals with her. She came to us and said, hey, got this great old house, needs a ton of work. It's going to be at least 150K in renovation, but it's in a really nice established older neighborhood, and I'm sure I can find a buyer for you at this price, which was something like $725.
And how much,
So-
now 150 was going to
I
be.
think we bought it for was it 350, Jay?
We bought it, something like that.
Okay, so you bought it for 350.
Like 350, put in 150, sold for 75. We're going to net 120K on this one. So I think that's a home run. And
We bought it for 395 and we sold it for 7.25.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
And so that one's closing in a month. And she did find, we didn't do anything. We just sent her money. She did all the work. You know, of course, we have conversations with her regularly and make sure she's doing, you know, following up. But, you know, it's just easy, right? The amount of time I put into that entire deal, probably under 10 hours.
And then do you have, like, I mean, you've done deals with her, so you trust her and all that. For other deals where you have to do renovations out of state, do you have boots on the ground? They constantly are in contact with you, sending you pictures of the remodel and suggestions that the contractor's making? That sort of
You
thing?
know, we like to do with our contract, like about a once a month update. You know, people want weekly photos. It's like overbearing to a lot of contractors to make that request. If you're constantly bothering them, you're going to make a bad relationship.
Yeah.
You want them to go out of the way for you. You want them to bend over and, you know, go the extra mile. So if you're constantly bugging them for things, you got to give them, you know, some rope. That being said, when you need to get your photos, you need to get your videos. We do live video walkthroughs, so we can see what's going on and we can have conversations. So usually every month is pretty good. If something that comes up like a milestone, obviously we're talking with these people all the time. We kind of know what's going on. So
especially if they, you know, go do some investigation, like, gee, we didn't know we had dry rot or something, you know, you got to make a decision. So now, if for the audience who's listening, what kind of opportunities are there for people who are listening to the show right now?
So we do both syndications and JVs.
Okay.
What we typically look for these days is what we call gap funding. So we have institutional funders who provide approximately 85% of all the funding that we need for our deals. And then we try to bring the other 15% to the table through our investors. And then for that, they get a percentage payout. And that is a percentage of profit. And we've ranged anywhere on our deals now from 25 to 40%. It's on a deal by deal basis, depending on how much profit is in the deal, but it's usually about a greater percentage than the amount that they put in.
Wow. And how long does the deal from start to finish when someone invests generally for that gap funding? Excuse me.
Be patient.
Yeah. Patient. So our typical deals are anywhere from 6 months to 18 months.
Gotcha.
Some of the ones that we think will take 6 months may take 18 months.
Gotcha.
So we try to give a year to 18-month time horizon on most deals, even if we think we can close earlier, because things change. We're dealing with legal process. We're dealing with delays. We just had a homeowner who was supposed to vacate March 1st, and he filed some complaint on March 1st, and now we have to wait an extra month before he can be evicted.
Gotcha.
So
I've had to deal with that too. It's a hassle, but as long as they don't destroy the property, it's just a little bit of extra time. So
Right.
So when you
like the other thing is, like, for example, the one in Hawaii, we bought the note in April. It went to sale in June. But because of the court delays, because of COVID wanting an in-person hearing, the court confirmation hearing wasn't where that approved the sale, didn't happen until January. And so now it's going to take us about another 60 days from January to get paid. So it was a good result, but we're still waiting to get paid.
Gotcha. And then, so if, as Seti, you had said about like anywhere from, let's say, 25 to 40%, is that from start to finish, or is that an annual basis? You know what I mean?
no, that's just start to finish. So, if, for example, if you got paid 25% return in 6 months, it's a 50% annualized return.
Okay. And if it took 18 months, you'd still get 25%.
you'd still get 25%.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so
And that would
I
be
mean,
a lower
it's not bad. I'm
annualized.
just wondering-
Now your annualized return goes to what, 15%,
something like that. Yeah. Oh, that's terrible. No.
That's horrible. It's just terrible. Well, in our community, it is. We have a terrible. We have this, this platform, this educational platform. We're plugged into a community where we do masterminds, and there's over 800 members. And these guys, if you present them a deal that pays 15%, they're walking away. They don't want.
Yeah. Oh, those greedy guys.
Yeah.
I remember going to a couple of family office type meetings, and yeah, some of these guys are like, yeah, don't even present anything to me unless I'm going to earn, mid double digits at least. Yeah. And it's like, gosh, where are you getting that? Well, it'd be deals like this. So the thing I found very interesting is that, you guys have these pretty sophisticated spreadsheets where, you've done some pretty good analysis on, the acquisition cost, and then what if this, what if, low, medium, and high, because you have choices as to what kind of rehab you want to put in compared to what you expect the value. And you don't want to trade dollars, you don't want to put in an extra 100,000 just to get $100,000 back. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, we're constantly balancing off, for example, where we set the bid at the auction, and we look at those annualized returns. If we're able to, let's say, make $50,000 in 6 months, and if we wound up taking possession of the property and then doing a flip on it, and it took another 6 months, and we only got $90,000, is it really worth it?
Exactly.
We'll do the analysis to figure it out, and then go that way.
Gotcha. All right, guys, stay with us. We're gonna have one more segment. Don't touch that dial. Best of Investing will be back with some closing comments. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with my special guests, Seti Gershberg and Jay Tenenbaum. So we didn't have a trivia question, but guys, I was just reading before a couple days ago, regarding Putin and Ukraine and all that. And this is what happens when you live in a communist, socialist type atmosphere. Apparently, Putin, the rubles is just getting decimated, right? The stock market, they had to, put it on hold for a couple of days. So Putin apparently was making businesses sell inventory to make them purchase rubles to prop up the price. Do you hear about that? Is that incredible or what?
Wow.
Imagine if our government said, guys, yeah, we got to prop up the dollar, so you got to sell your inventory and then, it's one thing to sell your inventory at whatever price you can do it, and then to say now you got to buy an asset that's going down in value. That's just crazy. So getting sort of along this line with the craziness that's going on in the world today, how do you see your business model? Is it going to be changing? Are you concerned? Is there any pivoting you're expecting?
For me, Jay, you can answer what you believe. We really haven't had this conversation between the two of us, but I don't believe what's happening in Ukraine is really going to affect the U.S. in terms of housing prices or supply of non-performing loans. Any type of lending institution, whether it's a credit card or a bank, they deal with a certain percentage of borrowers who default. It's just like mathematical formula. It's the same amount every year. COVID interrupted it a little bit, but it'll go back to the normal amount. So I'm not sure how what's going on over there is really would impact our markets unless it somehow, affected the stock market and affected housing price. But I don't see where that happens.
Well, because you are in a very specialized, you're not building brand new houses. You're buying, I don't want to say, they're not necessarily distressed deals per se. They're distressed loans, but they may not be distressed houses.
They could be,
True.
but they don't have to be.
But they don't have to be.
Yeah, we actually have a note in New Canaan, Connecticut.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. We paid over $1 million for the note.
Okay.
I think the place could be worth, 5 or 6 million.
Wow.
And, That's not a distressed property.
No.
Exactly.
How much is the loan balance on that one?
I think over 2.
1.9, I think.
1.9. Wow. And they're willing to sell it for $1 million?
They did.
We bought it for $1
Well,
million.
he's challenging it a little bit. So I mean, you pick your poison. I mean, like I said, when you're patient and time is what it is. We're going to prevail. When you're buying distressed mortgage notes and taking them through foreclosure, the borrowers can get savvy attorneys and figure out how to stall, but they can't win.
Sure. But as long as the note's perfected, you're not going to
exactly
lose on
yeah.
that.
But a savvy attorney, starts stalling that the mortgage wasn't correct, but it is right versus that there is a defect. If there's a defect in the mortgage itself, we figured that out on diligence. We never would have bought it, and that does happen. Going back to what the question you asked and said he responded was, we sit in a nice place, right? Right now, because of the real estate market and appreciation of housing, the notes that we're looking to buy, the pricing that we're going to buy them at has gone up a little bit. Now, if the market was to change, eventually the value of the distressed mortgage note that we're seeking to buy would reduce its value as well. We'd be buying it cheaper. We're already buying it at a discount.
That's
the
right.
discount would become greater if the property values go down.
Gotcha. Hey guys, I'll tell you, it's been fun. Believe it or not, this is a very, very short segment. So guys, thank you very much. Jay Tenenbaum and Seti Gershberg. So here's our thoughts for the day. So my kid swallowed a roll of film the other day, and I asked the doctor, what should we do? And he said, wait, let's see if anything develops. And like that. And then people say nothing is impossible, but I say, hey, I do nothing every day. All right, tune in next week to The Best of Investing. We're going to be giving away more free prizes for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, wishing you the best of investing. So long.